In 1917, U.S. President Woodrow Wilson committed the nation to World War I in order that the world might be made safe for democracy. 400,000 black Americans would serve during the war, fighting abroad for freedoms they were denied at home, dying for a country where discrimination was widespread, where Southern Jim Crow laws relegated them to attend inferior schools, to drink from separate fountains, ride in separate streetcars, and where poll taxes, literacy tests, and intimidation prevented the vast majority of blacks from exercising their right to vote. Many Negroes fled the South during the period to find work in the factories and shipyards of the North. They found better jobs, higher wages, a brighter future, and in many areas, venomous racism. Competition for jobs between blacks and whites led to violence in many cities. Newspapers christened the summer of 1919 the Red Summer of Hate for the national frenzy of race riots and lynchings that gripped the country. Discrimination was endemic in the U.S. military as well. One young Army officer named Charles Hamilton Houston later recalled his experience during World War I.
The hate and scorn showered on us Negro officers by our fellow Americans convinced me there was no sense in my dying for a world ruled by them. I made up my mind that if I got through this war, I would study law and use my time fighting for men who could not strike back.
Houston lived, and, true to his word, took up the fight for social justice. He accepted a position as legal counsel for the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People in 1934 and joined the battle to overthrow the Southern system of segregation. Founded in 1909, the NAACP was a tireless crusader against racial violence. It focused on a legal approach to ending discrimination, fighting in the nation's courtrooms rather than in the streets. In 1919, the organization waged a high-profile campaign against the racist motion picture, The Birth of a Nation. The film's director, D.W. Griffith, portrayed Southern whites as the victims of lascivious blacks and carpetbagging Northerners. Klansmen were cast as valiant heroes. The NAACP criticized the melodrama as 3 miles of filth, but to no avail. It was fabulously popular and shaped a romanticized yet widely accepted view of the Reconstruction South that persisted for decades. Taking a cue from Birth of a Nation, Charles Houston and his team harnessed the power of the motion picture to document the disparity between black and white education in South Carolina. The visual record they compiled anchored a new 3-step legal strategy to overturn Plessy versus Ferguson. Demonstrate that separate educational facilities were seldom equal. Make equality too expensive for states to maintain. Finally, attack the very principle of separate but equal. Under the guidance of Houston, the NAACP legal team filed case after case, slowly chipping away at the legal foundation of segregation.